Welcome to Madlit Musings, the podcast where you get to eavesdrop on your favorite authors without getting caught. I've been stoked to have authors like Angela Hunt, Bill Myers, Nicole Deese, Tessa Afshar, comedian Bob Smiley, and more on the show, and this year I have another great lineup of storytellers and truth-sayers. If you love to eavesdrop at coffee shops like I do, this is the podcast for you. It's where we get real, we get tough, we laugh, and we might even cry. It's where we meet authors on a different level, where every story and podcast episode has its own heartbeat. So hang out with me today. I'm Jaime Jo Wright, your host at Madlit Musings. This is your podcast for real chats with real authors about real life. Today's episode was brought to you by Baker Publishing Group, with Ravel and Bethany House Publishing as divisions. We're super excited to be sponsored by Baker Publishing Group and to bring you their fabulous authors and their fabulous lineup for 2025. Be sure to check them out at bakerpublishinggroup.com and also check out their online bookstore at bakerbookhouse.com. Hey everyone, it is Jaime Jo Wright here at Madlit Musings, and I have back in the studio, Zoom room, whatever we want to call it, I have Michelle Griep. Hey Michelle.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really good, except for the fact that I have a cold. So if anyone's listening, you're probably going to hear a little bit of nasal Jaime today. You know, but it's cold season.
Spring cold.
No, I always seem to get a spring cold in May. I've done that since I was a kid. It's really strange.
Well, you're not breaking with tradition, so that's good.
No. And tradition is really important. So we'll stick with that. Speaking of tradition, you have a sequel coming out.
I do. Yes.
I'm super excited about it. I read the first one, and this one is called Of Silver and Secrets. It's book 2. The first one, the title's evading me, which is why I avoided saying it. So I'll just ask, what was the title of the first one again?
It is Of Gold and Shadows. So we have gold and silver and shadows and secrets, which is totally, understandably confusing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's not so much confusing. It's just, it fits. It's just lots of S's. Secrets, lots of shadows. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
But no, I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. I actually listened to it on audiobook.
Fun. I haven't listened to that.
The narrator does a really good job, and I'm finding I'm very picky about narrators for whatever reason. I think everybody tends, if they do audiobooks, they tend to say that.
Yes.
But your narrator does a really good job.
I have heard that comment, so I should probably listen to it sometime.
Do you find it weird to listen to your own audiobooks? Because I do.
Yeah, I don't usually do it. It's just weird. Once I'm done with the book, I'm done with the book. I don't read it. I don't listen to it again or anything. So yeah.
I don't need to revisit it for the 18th time.
No.
Yeah.
Been through it enough times.
Exactly. Well, I'm sorry, we have to go and revisit Of Silver and Secrets, though. So you are going to have to visit it a little bit today in the podcast.
Absolutely.
All right. So tell us what this story is about.
Okay. Well, the first book was about Egyptian archaeology. This one features Roman archaeology because, of course, the Romans were prancing around up there in England. So
they were.
Left behind some treasures and other assorted things. And so my heroine is awfully glad to have found a treasure because she is in dire straits because of all things taxes, right? We all struggle with that one. So her taxes are due. Just so happened to find this buried Roman ring on, you'll like this one, the Cursed Acres, which is the part of her land that should not be dug up because legend says you're going to have huge troubles in your life if you dig up on this land. But of course she's going to dig up on the land because she needs the money. But she doesn't know anything about anything Roman. So she goes to Cambridge, which is very close by, to Trinity College, and is going to seek professional help from a professor of Roman archaeology. And doggone if it isn't somebody that she hates. She had no idea where this guy went to. Bram is the hero professor. He left her small town when he was a teenager, and she was a couple years younger than him, and she had the hugest crush on him. Sad when he left, and because he didn't tell her goodbye. So she had a little bit of a chip on her shoulder.
Yeah.
But of course he will enter the story and save the day. So there you have it in a nutshell.
That's a great nutshell. I love
There
it.
you
So go buy the book. Thank you, Michelle, for being here with us today.
happy. Yeah.
Oh, that's
But
fun. Now we, as readers, if you read book one,
yes,
we were introduced to Bram in book one.
that's what I was just going to say. He
Yeah.
makes a cameo appearance in book one. He's kind of a roguish, piratey sort of professor who doesn't play by the rules.
Right.
And in book two, in Silver and Secrets, then there's also a cameo appearance from the hero and heroine of the first book. So you get to catch up
Fun.
on what's happened in their life since that book, which was only a year previous. So yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
That's
always
exciting. Fun. Yeah, I like that. And I had one of those moments when I was reading book one, and then you brought Bram in as just almost like a complimentary character. He wasn't necessarily, I mean, he was critical of the story, obviously, but it wasn't like you saw him on every page.
Right.
And once he showed up on that page, I'm kind of like, I need book two like now, because this better be the hero.
Yep. He's a hero. He's a bad boy sort of hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that. So we've got kind of like the bad boy hero trope. And it sounds like a little bit of enemies to lovers for people who really like tropes.
Yes.
Is that accurate? Okay.
They're frenemies. They're definitely frenemies.
Frenemies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's almost better than enemies.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got all that underlying tension. Like, it's not like you just have to like overcome the fact that I seriously hate you.
Right.
It's you have to overcome the fact that I'm secretly not being honest with myself.
Exactly. You got all that at play. A little bit of on. And then toss in that the heroine has a sister she's responsible for who's a precocious 12-year-old and is blind. So that adds well. Plus the hero's uncle, who's also a professor, actually was the one that kind of brought some salvation to Bram's life. He's in stages of dementia. So that to it as well. So you got the really absent-minded professor and a precocious in the mix.
That sounds awesome. Now, okay, time period of this book is when again?
Yeah, late 1800s, so Victorian.
Okay, all right. Did they have like Braille back then in the 1800s, or when did that come around?
Yeah, they did. They actually had a school for the blind in London.
Okay.
It was a little pricey though. So, and since this gal's struggling with money, she can't really send her there.
Right.
But yeah, they did.
Okay. All right.
That school is actually still there to this day. They changed the name. Yeah, they changed the name. But it's still there for the blind.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. That's great. Okay, so I have to ask, you have Egyptian history in the first one, and then you have Roman history, or artifacts, I should say, in the second one. Did you find you liked or favored one over the other as you were?
Good question. Quite frankly, no. I like them both. They I mean, Egyptian's like mysterious, I think it feels a little more mysterious than Roman. Roman archaeology feels a little bit more accessible, but then you think about, big hunky gladiators, and who doesn't want to think about that? And, togas.
What we do today will echo into eternity. Sorry. My favorite line ever from a movie, The Gladiator.
Yes. Yeah. So they're both fun and unique in their own ways.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And Egyptian architecture. See, I have a cold. Egyptian archaeology. Yes. Like you said, it has a lot of almost that mysticism, because there were things like, oh, if you open this, there's a curse. And, there was a lot of religious mysticism around even the burials. And then the Romans, I kind of like to look at, and it's just like, I feel like every artifact I would find, if it was Roman, would just be seriously aggressive.
Yeah, they were manly men. That's for sure.
Yeah. Forget about the mysticism. We're just going to come out fighting.
Yep, that's good. I like that. Big beefy muscle. But yeah, now I think I connect a little bit more personally to Roman archaeology, in the respect that, because I do love to skip across the pond whenever I get a chance. And Hadrian's Wall, love to walk along there. Warwick Castle has these, spiral staircases. I mean, that there's one still there that was built in the first century, like the first century, and that's so crazy. And the stairs in that stairway, they're not straight. They're like whoop like that, because so many feet over the centuries have gone up and down those stairs, and you can just imagine,
Yeah.
guards going up and down that spiral
Wow.
stair.
That's
Yeah.
just crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. It's funny too because when you think Roman, you don't think England.
Right. Right. Most people don't.
No, no,
Yep.
because you're always thinking like in that Mediterranean, the Italian area,
Yeah.
and but Rome did conquer so much of the world.
Well, where the name London came from, Londinium. Romans named it.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah. Yep.
So I know you, and I know your stories are not just romance.
Right.
You always have some plot going on. And so I'm going to assume that when she finds an artifact or whatever happens, that we've got something nefarious involved as well. Am I correct?
Yeah. You are correct. So yeah, I have to play up on that. The Cursed Acres, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen. Are they really because
Mm-hmm.
of curse, or is it some villain involved? And you'll have to read it to find out.
We have to read it to find out. See, all the that's the problem when you have suspense authors on a podcast. Because you want to ask questions about the book and they're like, you got to read it.
Yeah, I don't want to give
I
it
can't
away.
really say anything because I'm going to spoil it.
Oh, I can't do that. Sorry.
No, that's quite all right.
There's actually two villains in this one.
Oh,
Well, I guess they're both pretty major. Yeah, there's two different ones.
okay.
Ava, her own villain in her life, and Bram has his own in his life. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were writing this book, what were some of the favorite moments? Like, do you have or a favorite moment where you're like, yeah, that was the favorite part that I really enjoyed writing?
I had fun doing this particular scene. That was actually an idea I got from Erica Vetch. Hoorah!
Okay.
Shout out to Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had this idea of I have this fall festival. It's called Guy Fawkes Day,
Okay.
which I explain at length in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But I have this scene where they go in a hot air balloon, and Ava's terribly afraid of heights, tied into her past
Mm-hmm.
with the hero, of course. And of course, it's those two alone that are going up in this balloon. It's
Oh, of
only
course.
30 feet high, and he's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to shoot a flaming arrow to start the Guy Fawkes bonfire, because it's known as Bonfire Night now.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
but lo and behold, that feather breaks, and so they're in a runaway
Ooh.
high, which I would hate because I hate heights. So I can totally sympathize.
Yeah.
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 So that was fun.
I can actually imagine that. I was in a hot air balloon once that was tethered.
Okay. Imagine if that.
Right. I was going to say we were almost the same height that you mentioned and everything. And I'm picturing, oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a really fun scene to write.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, I mean, if you think about, okay, my brain goes weird places, but to be in a runaway hot air balloon in my situation would have been a little bit frightening, but not completely overwhelming because there's been so many hot air balloons and planes and people know how to fly things. But back in the Victorian era, I can't imagine there were too many people getting rides in hot air balloons or anything that flew.
Exactly. And it's just him and her, so they got to figure out how to get down.
Yeah. So did you have to study hot air balloon science?
I did.
I was going to say.
I didn't go too, but I did have to, find out the mechanical terms and whatnot, and what terms they would have used, which is different. I mean, they are different than what they use today. So.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But you didn't go in a hot air balloon for the experience.
No, I'm not doing it. I pass.
Michelle's like, there are limits to research, and that is one of them.
That is it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Don't do heights. Don't do claustrophobia. So I'm not doing any cave climbing or spelunking, I think you call it. Yeah.
Spelunking. No, yeah. I think you're right.
Not
yeah. I went to Cave of the Mounds. No, Cave of the Mounds, not Cave of the Mounds. The one in Kentucky.
Well, they have a lot of them.
They have a lot of them. There was a Mammoth Cave. Sorry, Cave of the Mounds is here in Wisconsin. That's why it's the first thing that comes in my brain.
Okay.
Mammoth Cave. So I'm thinking Mammoth Cave. It's not going to feel claustrophobic because it's mammoth. Right. And it is. Like, you go down there and it's totally fine. And then all of a sudden the guide goes, we are like X hundred feet below the surface.
Ooh.
And you start picturing if something fell and blocked
Yeah.
off the surface. And then they're
Yeah.
like, everyone turn off your lights. We're going to go completely black. And you can't even see your finger an inch from your eye. And I'm like, I'm done. Get me out.
Yeah.
Get me
No.
out. I'm done.
No. Don't want to be in the dark. Don't want to be in small places. Don't want to be up
No,
high.
no,
Mm-hmm.
no. I
I'll
agree.
just sit at my desk and write stories.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So when you were writing this one, Roman artifacts, what are some of the things, like if I were to go over and start artifacting, because that's a word, and we're going to call it that,
Okay.
artifacting my way through England,
Okay.
what are some of the common things that people have found as far as Roman artifacts?
Most common is coins. You're most
Okay.
often find Roman coins.
Okay.
In bigger digs, one of the things they uncovered that I actually used in my story are these wax tablets. And so they would take like stone and put like wax on it, and then
Okay.
they'd like dig into it, and that would be, like their notebook, what have you. And then when they
Okay.
that you just heat it up a little bit, smooth it over, and start all over again. So I thought that's kind of fun.
That's interesting.
Oh, I had not heard of those sorts of things, but you can still find like those fancy amphora, like wine server things,
Mm-hmm.
thingamabob. Um, it was mostly soldiers that were there. So I mean,
Okay.
there were some towns that you can find the more fancy things in.
Okay.
But for the most part, it was, soldier kind of stuff. So,
Yes, things that inspire death.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That works. That works. And
Yeah.
coins, because we need
And
coins.
a lot of money laying
Yes.
around.
Now, Roman money, Roman coins, didn't they have like the emperor's face on them, or the Caesar's face?
Yeah. I mean, there are different Caesars, so there's
Well, I
different.
suppose.
Yeah.
Right.
But
But
yeah.
that's kind of how we tell that they're Roman. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I sent my kids out into the field one day when they were little, and I said, go look for Roman coins. They
They,
didn't know you couldn't find them in Wisconsin.
they didn't find anything.
Mm-mm.
No. It would be
Mm-mm.
fun, like a metal detector over there, and just, trot around Hadrian's Wall. Although I suppose people have done that before, so it's probably all gone by now. But there's
Yeah.
still farmers that'll dig up a field and find some random Roman thing. So
Gosh, I wish we
yeah,
had that kind of stuff over here, like
right?
old stuff.
Yeah, no arrowheads. We got arrowheads.
Those are cool, though. Not
They're
gonna
cool.
lie, they are really cool. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
like
they're not silver or gold. So
no,
yeah.
no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so silver. We have gold in the first title, and we have silver in the second. So why did you zone in on those two metals?
Yeah. So who doesn't want gold and silver? Because I
Well,
do. You can send
true.
it to me.
Okay.
Yeah. First one, we have the gold statue that's cursed, and in this one, what she finds is a silver ring. So that's where the
Okay.
silver. So gold and silver.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That sounds cool. I like that. What else do we need to know about this series? Because it's hard to. I want to ask so many questions. It's not that I don't have questions, but they're all going to be spoiler questions.
I know. Well, it's a duology, so there will not be another book.
Okay.
There's just these two, which is why I tried to bring the hero and heroine in from the first book to get a little closure on that.
Yeah.
And I do, of course, give them a happily ever after in this one. Everybody involved gets a happily ever after. So I tie up all the loose ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. And what part of England does this take place in?
This is around Cambridge. So the bulk of the story takes place in Royston, which is close. It's a day's horse ride.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe 20-minute car ride.
I was to say, horse ride from experience, or
Yeah. No.
Google.
No. I did not do it in a horse ride. But one of the fun, I love Cambridge. And one of my favorite places to go there is Heifer's Bookstore. So I put that in the book because the heroine loves to read, of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I do give a wink and a nod to an American author, to Louisa May Alcott, because heroine loves Little Women. So, and did you know
taste.
Little Women was, when it first came out, was in 2 volumes? Like there was I think, I forget, now I'm forgetting what the second half of it was called. So it wasn't a big fat book. It was
Okay.
2 books, and then they combined them into one.
I'm
So
trying to figure out where in the book you would have split it.
yeah, it splits at, I believe it's a Christmas scene. So splits there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
Did-
can tell.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember with Louisa May Alcott. Did she write that in book form though, or did she write it in like? Because I know back in those days, a lot of times they did serials. Like,
Right. Yeah, Dickens did serials. No, this
Mhm.
was as far as I remember. Don't quote me on this, but I believe
No.
it was in. And then she wrote the
Okay.
second book. Well, let's just
Okay.
combine them. So
Yeah. Did you
yeah,
ever read Little Men?
I did not. I did
Oh,
not
I love Little Men.
read it.
You should
It's
read it.
okay.
It,
It's a thumb.
it's a thumbs up for me. It's the continuation of Joe's story,
Uh,
and what's the guy's name that she ends up with that
is it
nobody wanted her? Well, she didn't
Lori?
end up with Lori because that's the one everybody wanted her to end up with.
Oh yeah. I
I
still.
want to say Bauer or Bear, Professor Bear.
I don't remember.
Anyway,
Surely need.
yeah, I know it's okay. It's been a long time since I read it too, but the dude she ends up with that isn't Lori, that crushes everybody's hearts because it's not Lori.
Yeah.
It's their story because they open a boys' home.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And so they have a boys' home, and it's just run rampant, full of boys with personalities. So if you're like a boy mom, it's a must-read book.
I should totally read that because
So
right
good.
now I'm working on a Victorian Christmas story that's in an orphanage. So,
Oh,
and the kids are getting into all kinds of trouble. So that could be
oh yeah,
inspiration. Okay.
yeah. You
Cool.
have to read Little Men then. I
Okay.
almost honestly like it better than Little Women.
Okay.
I don't know that most people will agree with me because it's not like it's romantic. So there's
Okay.
that.
Put it on my summer to read list.
It's an easy read too.
Okay.
So somehow we've gone from Roman archaeology to Little Men, an obscure American classic that nobody associates with Louisa May Alcott, but was
You
a
never
sequel.
know. You never know where our conversation's going to go.
I know, but that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah. I like that.
So you did mention a Victorian Christmas.
Yes.
Can you tell us anything about that? Or
Yeah, I can tell you about that one. That's the one I'm in the middle of writing right now. Don't have a name for it yet.
Mhm.
It's about Belle, the girl that dumped Scrooge. So it's like 10 years after she dumps him.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love
So,
it.
of course, he'll make a cameo appearance in this one.
Mm-hmm.
But that one is what I'm working on right now. But I do have a book coming out in February that's called The Bird of Bedford Manor. And this one's a Regency.
Okay.
And this is a gal who has fallen from grace, not from her own fault, but from her father's fault. So she is destitute. And so she takes up poaching, which back in Regency,
Oh,
poaching could still be punished by death or,
yeah.
and doggone if she doesn't get caught, you know, who'd have
Oh,
thought, by
hmm.
the hero on
I was
his
going to
land.
say, I'm going to guess it's some handsome, hunky
Handsome,
poacher
hunky.
catcher.
Yeah, but he's got a problem too. I mean, his problem is his sister's being stalked. And so when he does catch this poacher, he doesn't have her arrested. Instead, he hires her to stalk the stalker. And then, of course, by the end of the book, you have the stalker stalking her. But
So
it
a
all works.
stalker stalking a stalker who stalks the stalker.
Yes.
I love it. That's the
Yeah.
best hook. Just put that in the Amazon sales, like the first line. The stalker stalks the stalker who stalks the stalker.
Exactly. So that one comes out in February.
I love it. I love it.
So
I love it.
what
I absolutely love it.
right now. Yeah.
Well, for readers who don't already know about this, Michelle Griep comes out with a book Jaime buys. It's just that simple.
Thank you.
It's just that simple. It's like,
Well,
oh, Michelle has a book. Click. Buy
girl,
now.
feelings mutual. Feelings mutual.
Aww.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Well, I think every reader who has not read a Michelle Griep book should make that their priority for 2025. I'm just saying it right here.
Throw it in your beach bag. Take it to the beach.
They're just so good. And if you can't read a paperback, you got the audiobook, which is equally as entertaining.
Yep.
And they read it with a British accent.
That's
At least
fun.
this one.
Yeah.
I think most of yours would be, though, because they're Regency.
Yeah.
Or
they do.
that area.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm not as big a fan of mine, because there's not really British accents, so they're boring to listen to.
Well, maybe you should have a British character in one of yours that comes to
Maybe I
America.
should. I think I've
Yeah.
done a British character here and there, but I need to do something that has a British narrator. So the entire book is
Yeah.
spoken to you with a delightful English accent.
You should totally do it.
So much more interesting to listen
Yeah.
to.
You can come up with that. I'm sure you
I
can.
think so. We can do it. But in the meantime, while you're all waiting for that inevitable, never going to happen, English-based book by Jaime Jo Wright, you can stock up on Michelle Griep.
There you go. And get all the British accents that you want that will be available for you to listen to and to possibly mock as well, because who doesn't love to try and do a fake English accent? I do, but I horribly. So
I
we
know.
won't go.
I don't do it that great either. And right now, I shouldn't do it because it starts coughing.
Right. Yes.
So, we're going to bring this to a close before I have an hour and a half of editing to do.
Okay.
But thank you so much, Michelle, for being here.
Thank
And
you.
drop really quick how readers can find you.
Yes. Pop on over to my website. It's just michellegriep.com, and that's GRIEP. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, and I love to be on Pinterest because I do a storyboard for each of mine. So, yeah.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for being on today. This is so much fun. I love having you. Yay!
I love being here. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Talk to you next time.
And that's a wrap for today here at Madlet Musings. I hope you join us again. And if you want to, be sure you like and subscribe here at your favorite podcast player or on YouTube, because you won't want to miss all the wonderful alerts that let you know when we have another conversation for you to eavesdrop on.